Hello, my name is Alexandra Hess, and I am aspiring to become an elementary school teacher. In this presentation I have created over the past 7 weeks, I will talk about how being culturally aware can be effective in creating a healthy learning environment for every student, whether they are from a minority group or from a different culture. This is important to me especially because each year I will be faced with students who may not understand culture, as well as students who want to hold true to their own family, cultural, and traditional values. Hidden curriculum is very different from planned lessons that I will have prepared for each day of the week. Hidden curriculum is learned through unspoken lessons and can be both negative and positive when it comes to the way my students are impacted. One example of hidden curriculum is acceptable and unacceptable behavior. As students spend time with other children and watch how they treat others, they pick up behaviors that may, over time, begin to seem like the norm. According to Great Schools Partnerships, this can happen with both desired and undesired behaviors. In my classroom, I intend to be aware of the hidden curriculum that may be hidden throughout my teaching and in interactions that take place between students. I believe that in doing so, I will create a learning environment in which all of my students feel a sense of belonging and comfort. In my career, I will also be spending a significant amount of my time in the classroom, and so will all of my students. The classroom is the place where creativity, challenging discussions, collaboration, and learning takes place. As the educational environment is where a majority of students' time is spent, it is important that it is set up in a way that tends to their overall educational needs. It must be a space in which students can engage in active learning. According to the Center for Educational Innovation, active learning can be encouraged through writing, talking, problem solving, or reflecting. The traditional classroom is typically set up with rows of desks facing the front of the classroom, which is where the teacher's desk typically is. According to the Center for Educational Innovation, this kind of traditional classroom setup creates an environment in which the students are passive learners, listening to the teacher and quietly taking notes. In designing my classroom, I hope to create a space where my students can easily collaborate and share their ideas and findings with one another. I plan to encourage my students to talk amongst themselves in groups about the material we cover in class. In order to make this accessible for students, I will include several tables with chairs around them so that the students can sit alongside each other and face each other. This will encourage my students to engage in conversations and brainstorm using the ideas of each member of the group. The achievement gap is a very important aspect of cultural education that must be considered when thinking about students from different cultures. According to the University of Minnesota, the achievement gap can be defined as a major difference in graduation rates as well as academic test scores when comparing students of poverty and different cultural backgrounds with more wealthy, privileged, or white students. One of the best ways that the achievement gap can be approached is to begin the process of detracking schools, according to Burris and Wellner. Burris and Wellner explain their belief that achievement follows from opportunities that tracking denies. Tracking. They go on to explain that higher achievement comes from a curriculum that presents challenge and therefore promotes growth. Tracking tends to perceive minority students as less capable to be in high track classes, and as a result, they place these students in the low track classes. If detracking takes place in our school systems, schools and students of all groups and cultures will have an opportunity for higher education. According to Ray McDermott and Irv Varane, cultural conflict takes place when there is a set of cultural norms that are set in one group's perspective, therefore causing them to believe that anything or anyone out of that norm is incorrect. When this happens, the minority group is perceived as disabled because they do not match the cultural norms of the majority. We must not confuse our ignorance of life with a physical difference for an account of that life, nor should we forget that the particulars of our own ignorance are likely a more crucial determinant of the disabilities manifest in some lives than any differences in the physical makeup of people. McDermott and Marine could not have said it more perfectly. In this quote, they are essentially saying that not one individual should be labeled as disabled because of a mere difference in physical makeup, such as skin color and not being able to hear. This is a message that I intend to make very clear in my classroom. We are all capable, strong, unique individuals worthy of being accepted and treated with utmost respect and kindness. Each individual in my class will have an opportunity to share what they value about their culture, and the entire class will learn to grow from this kind of experience as they come to understand that they, along with their fellow students, are worthy of being celebrated. Pop culture also plays a major role, especially in the education of young students, because it is one of the many effective ways to teach social values as well as political views and understanding of them, according to Cultural Politics. According to Gustavo Fishman, cartoons are influential aspects of pop culture, which can be helpful in educating students about trends, norms, and cultural attitudes within a society. The classroom is a great place to incorporate daily rituals that will also be important for the foundation of a child's future. It is through rituals that children learn what to do and what not to do in certain social situations. As children spend such a great portion of their time in school, it is important that they are introduced to and taught how they should act in a school setting and in society according to Culture in Schools Rituals. Slide 5. According to Geneva Gay, culturally responsive teaching can be defined as using the cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students as conduits for teaching them more effectively. Gay goes on to explain that incorporating student experiences into daily lessons will be a far more effective way of teaching because the students will have an easier time relating to the content. In order to become best equipped to become a culturally responsive leader, Gay explains that you must first know A, which ethnic groups give priority to command living and cooperative problem solving, and how these preferences affect educational motivation, aspiration, and task performance. B, how different ethnic groups' protocols of appropriate ways for children to interact with adults are exhibited in instructional settings, and C, the implications of gender roles, socialization in different ethnic groups for implementing equity initiatives in classroom instruction. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to my presentation.